Oh, hi. It said trying to reconnect. So hi, Elaine Williams here. I am founder and creator of Captivate the Crowd speaker training, and I'm so excited about doing a free masterclass workshop next Wednesday. But today I wanted to say hello, happy Friday. It is sunny here on the East Coast, at least in New Jersey, so I'm excited about that. And we are on day 2 of my Facebook challenge. So, I keep saying my connection is weak. Okay, great. Sorry, hopefully you can hear this. So this is day 2 of the Facebook challenge. So first of all, I want to say thank you for all of the comments and videos and messages coming in from yesterday. That was so cool and fun just to see what people have to say about connection, and people sharing like how hard it is to feel, vulnerable, and to feel like you're going to take down your mask and take down your armor. I know for years I've worked in some really tough industries, comedy clubs and restaurants. And how can you stay in your center and still be authentic and real and vulnerable, but not feel like you're exposed if you're around mean, sarcastic people or drunk people, So I've done it. I've navigated it, and that's part of what I put into my system. So anyway, just thank you so much for participating, everybody who did yesterday. And if you haven't watched that video, there's all kinds of cool tips about connection and some of the things that people struggle with. And I say this, you can work on vocal variety and storytelling and acting and giving great points and crafting, but if you don't have connection with your audience, none of that matters. And I don't know of a lot of other speaking coaches that really dive into connection. That is definitely one of my superpowers. And part of it is from, doing 30 plus years of performing, plus all my acting training. I've been a personal trainer. I've been in transformational work for 20 years. And just like dealing with the public and customer service. There's just a ton of things. Hey, Tracy. Hi, sweetheart. Thanks so much for coming on, and thanks for coming yesterday and making comments about connection. And so today we are going to move on to step 2 of the Facebook challenge 5-day is confidence. And Tracy is this amazing health coach. If you want to learn how to be healthier and get off your meds, you should definitely check out her work. She transformed one of the things that I did, one of my guilty pleasures, just from having like a 5-minute conversation with her on the phone. She is a powerful coach, so check out her stuff. She's great, and I hope to get to keep working with her. So thank you. Yeah, I'm skinny. There's nothing like going through a breakup. I always lose weight. I wish it was an easier way. But, so yeah, confidence. And a lot of people say, well, I want to work on my speaking, but I feel like I need to get more confidence first. And, I have to say, that is just like the people who say, I want to go work out at the gym, but I got to lose weight first so I feel, more comfortable at the gym. But how are you going to lose weight if you're not going to work out? It's like the chicken or the egg. So confidence comes from feeling capable. And again, one of my points is a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have talent for that. I think talent is overrated. I know, I said it. I may bring the haters on. I am a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell. He is this brainiac guy who writes for the New York Times, the New Yorker, and he's written a ton of books. David and Goliath. Outliers is my favorite of his books, and it talks about the study of success. And how a lot of times, like for instance, he gives case study after case study of like how the Beatles got to be so good. They were doing these 8-hour gigs in Hamburg. That was a tourist town, and so they were forced to practice on stage live, so they got better and better from having all of that stage time. And they looked at all these kids who were really great at hockey, and sure, they practiced and whatever, but a lot of them were the best because they were born in January, so they were bigger and older than the rest of the kids they were competing with. And anyway, he just says case study after case study after case study. And basically the whole premise of the book is that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master. Now don't freak out. You may be going, oh my God, 10,000 hours. Listen, that doesn't count. You can become a good, amazing speaker in much less time. Learn from my mistakes. Let me cut your learning time in half. But my point is, stage time is important. But if you have somebody like a coach who is helping you and looking with you and giving you feedback in a diplomatic, kind way so that you still feel safe. Hi, Johnny. You should book me. Oh my God, I'm working on all this new comedy material about my dad and my breakup. It's hilarious. I was cracking people up last night at the writers group at the hair salon, at my friend's salon, Salon Gossip. Hi, Cynthia. Oh, thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much. So we're talking about confidence and capability, and one of my favorite books of all time is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I've given it as gifts. Anybody in education or a parent should read this book. And he talks about Bill Gates and just like being at the right place at the right time. And one of my favorite definitions of luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. And so as a speaker or a coach or an entrepreneur, if you want to grow your business, you want to be ready. And so stop waiting. So, I really invite you to join me in this Facebook challenge. You can go back and look at yesterday's. And, what is your definition of confidence? And, it really can be simple things like practicing. Like, I do all these warm-up exercises before I do camera or go on stage anytime, or a podcast or an interview or TV, so that when you are on, you're like ready, you're on. You're not like, oh, hi, everybody. Let me just kind of get warmed up here. It's simple things like breathing, like the bubble. And go, 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 go. There's all these, kind of goofy things where you're stretching your voice and stretching your mouth, but it's a great way to get diaphragmatic breathing so that when you step on there or step out there or step into that meeting or lead the meeting at your job, your work where you want to grow and be promoted, you're ready to go. And that's part of confidence. And there are a lot of basic skills that I break down. I think sometimes it's like this woo-woo thing that, someday maybe I'll get there. And a lot of it's just simple practicing and stage time. When I first started doing comedy, my mentor kept saying, it takes 10 years. It takes 10 years to be a good comic. And I was like, 10 years? I might be dead by then, And because sometimes it just takes a while to find your persona and get in your groove and your writing groove. And I still feel like I'm finding myself as a stand-up comedian. I've been doing it for, over 10 years now. And I love it. I love it. But I also love speaking too. They're both, similar but very different. And I go into that more with my training about when I first started speaking, I was horrible. And when I first started doing stand-up comedy, I was horrible. I had to work at it. Even though I had been performing my whole life, both of those were very, very different than acting. And, here's the song and dance. And, I grew up doing musical theater, and it was very different. And I had to really kind of get over myself and be willing to be a beginner. And, that's one of the things I love to work with my clients and students about, because sometimes many of them are already great speakers, but they've gotten into bad habits, or they go into, I'm going to announce, and it's like that announcer voice, and it's not real. And like, maybe that works in Vegas for you, but to me, I want someone who is animated and a great storyteller, but who's also like real, who can get really quiet and authentic and like talk about their pain. And I want to know how you got out of the puddle. I think it's great. We talk a lot about success in this country, and I love that that's part of the American drive, but I wish we talked more about like failure, or what happened when this business that you put your heart and soul into didn't work out. What happened when you fell in love and you had every intention of raising a family together, and then stuff happened and it didn't work out? Like, what did you learn? How did you get yourself out of that? What happened when you were injured and you had to stay in bed and deal with depression and loneliness when you've worked with people your whole life? How did you get out of that? Like, I always want to know about the puddle and the mud. And, maybe that's from being a comic and just like sort of bearing my pain because that's what's funny. And maybe that's from growing up in therapy or the 12-step world. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Thanks. You're going to make me cry. I'm still, it's like 5 weeks and 1 day since the breakup, but who's counting? But you know, every day I feel stronger and better, but I still have these moments of just like grief, of like, it feels like a death to me. And I'm laughing because I'm a big, you know, I love books and healing, and so I ordered this book on grief, and it's like on a slow boat from China. I'm like, where is this book? And they're like, it should get there by May 1st. I'm like, I mean March 1st, but I'm like, it's been weeks. Where is the book? I should have just gone to the library. That's really the lesson here. So anyway, but I digress. So we're talking about confidence, and I want to share. And thank you again if you're just joining us. Thank you for participating yesterday in the whole connection conversation. If you haven't watched the video, please go back and watch it and share it. There's so much to learn about how to really connect and be authentic and real and be grounded, which is one of the things I talk about. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody who's like a talking head. They're like not really in their bodies, and they're just sort of, there's not connection. You know, to me, it's like, are you speaking from your core? Are you connected? Are you passionate about what you want to say? And you know, another thing I wanted to say about vulnerability, it is scary. But here's the thing. If you are coming from a place, and this is the mental mindset that I work on with my private clients, when you can come from the place that you are a gift from God and that your message is a gift, then they are going to want to hear this. And what you have to say is so important. When you can stand in that place and be present to your purpose and your why, you're coming from such a different place than, hi, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable and I hope you like me. Can you see the difference? So, you know, of course we want people to like us. I mean, I struggle with the people pleasing. I'm from the South, and honey, sugar, sweetheart, you know, and all that stuff. But like, when you can come from the place of, I have a really brilliant message I want to share with you that could change your life, or your daughters, or your sons, or your husbands, or your brothers, or your family, or your coworkers. You know, when you can come from that place, it's a different, you can still be vulnerable, but you're less needy. And so that's better for you. You're more grounded in your center. And then you can be vulnerable, and then there's a detachment about it. Like, hey, I'm really vulnerable. And, you know, some of you may not like this. You know, I'm a crier. When I am being real and authentic, I cry when I am moved. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm touched. And I have been touched over and over by so much kindness the past couple of weeks. So I'm a crier. Like, when I'm in that vulnerable space, that's who I am. And guess what? That may drive some people crazy. So you know what? They may not want to work with me. Or maybe they'll get over it and they'll come back. That's okay. I want to work with people who want to work on that. It's definitely one of my superpowers. And you know, when I can see someone who's being really authentic and real and vulnerable on stage, I fall in love with them, and I always want more of them. That's the easiest way to get through to me. So anyway, I just wanted to say, you know, if you're in one of those places like, I want to be vulnerable and I'm scared, if you can really come from this place of like centered and like what I have to say and this is my purpose, and you know, and not need the audience, it's such a more powerful place, and it's a really better place to stand in your vulnerability and authenticity. Thank you. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you, Cynthia. We have to Facebook later, or message later. I'm still learning Facebook stuff. I'm, you know, in my 40s, people, so it's all like technology, like a lot of us. So anyway, so I wanted to say that point about the vulnerability piece that, you know, is more about yesterday. And then I wanted to share a quick story about one of my very first speaking clients, this beautiful woman named Heather, and we met in another, like a financial, personal development financial program. This is years ago in New York City, and she was amazing, and I had seen her portfolio, and she was this amazing interior designer, but she had gotten more and more shy and sort of introverted, and her business was failing, and even though she had done great work, something had happened, and she had gotten more shy instead of kind of getting over it. And so we started working together, and it took some time. There was a lot of work. We had to get over quite a few blocks. And I'll never forget when she came and she did her first speech at this networking event. And we were all kind of like on the edge of our seats because she had scheduled it and then rescheduled it a couple of times. And anyway, so I came and it was in this fancy New York City office building with like marble everywhere. And, it was very intimidating for me and much less her. And everybody was in suits. And, so she got up and we were all kind of like, and she did my start off strong tools. She strode to the podium and she planted her feet, and she took a moment and she paused and she scanned the room. And then she started off with 2 strong hooking questions. And we were all like we were in for the ride. And she just kept going. And, it wasn't perfect. There were a couple of bobbles, but like, the transformation was like night and day, and by the end of the speech, the entire room was giving her a standing ovation, and it was so moving. It was so moving, and I will just never forget that. And part of that confidence was from her practicing and working on her craft and her skill and having support to keep stepping. When you feel uncomfortable and like, oh God, I don't know exactly how this is gonna go. And, oh, I'm so uncomfortable. If you have someone who's right by your side going, you can do it. I believe in you. Come on. You can do it. Take the next step. Breathe. Like there's nothing like that. And she grew so much. It was such a huge leap for her. And she grew. And after doing that one speech, it helped her catapult over those blocks. And her business started growing again. And she is thriving. And I just love to share that story because, in some ways, it's just what I do naturally is helping people and directing people. And I started directing when I was in high school and then did a lot in college too. And, sometimes I feel like what I do is really simple, but it's so profound. And, it was such a beautiful example of building somebody's confidence and having them have small wins and learning how to rehearse in small chunks and celebrating every win and working on the craft of it and practicing and the skills and knowing how to rehearse and just having somebody by your side, and it was just so beautiful to watch her blossom. And, I love working with people like that who are just, they're scared, but they are committed. I love working with advanced speakers, but I really love beginners too, or people who haven't been on stage for a while, and they, and it's like when they can step into like the next version of themselves, like stepping into the spotlight, like that higher, bigger self that they forgot about, So many times I know I was really a leader in high school, and then I got into partying and I was a mess in college. And when I reconnected with that leadership part of me, it was like, oh, I forgot about this part. And I feel like that's one of the things I do when I work with my students is like getting them reconnected with that, the little kid who's like, I want to be the president, or I want to fly to the moon. When we're little, we're all like, what? And then we get socialized and shut down, and someone tells us we can't sing, or we're bad at math, or we can't draw, and somebody makes fun of us, and we kind of get in this little box. And I want to help you unleash it, like now is the time. When would now be a good time? One of my yoga teachers used to say that. So okay, so that is my story about Heather and building her confidence, and how I set her up to practice and to win and to, let herself get present to that she was capable, and she just needed to put a couple of things in place and be willing to work and be willing to be uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable when you're stretching. It is, I am going through a huge trend. I am so uncomfortable. Sometimes I go work out twice a day because I just need to like get out of my head and sweat. So anyway, thank you so much for joining. Please share this if you know of anybody who wants to work on their speaking or grow their business with their speaking, or feel more comfortable on camera, or however, doing podcasts, interviews, your own TV show. I am doing this really cool training, and I will put the sign up in the comments below. And so this is I'm calling it a soft Facebook challenge. So I would love to hear from you. You can message me or leave comments below about what are your thoughts on confidence, and you can talk about connection. And if you want to make your own video and send it to me, you are welcome to do that. And I will figure out what's going on with my internet, I promise. So, we just did a quick review of when you, how you can be vulnerable and still be in your power. And we talked a lot about confidence and 10,000 hours in practicing. But you don't have to do 10,000 hours, but I do really recommend that book, Outliers. And then we talked about my client, Heather, and how she was willing to grow and stretch, but she just did some basic things and practiced. And she was really committed. That's the first step. And so I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on connection and confidence? And when have you had a huge breakthrough in your confidence? I would love to know your thoughts on it. And please share this with anybody who wants to grow their business from speaking. And I hope to see you later today. And I hope to see you on stage soon. Thanks so much. Have an awesome Friday. Bye for now.